So once again, hello everyone. We in the last lecture, what we have studied about the product need, how to identify the need or how to identify the problem from the user. Now today we are going to learn, like, if we are having the need, how to give the product specification or how to finalize the product specification. So basically here you can see one example is there, and it is one existing mountain bikes with a suspension fork. Like, if you want to give the specification to a particular component of this bicycle, what would be our approach? So here you can see the specialized bicycle components was interested in developing a new front suspension fork. That is their problem. The bicycle company, they what they want to do, they want to create a new front suspension fork for the mountain bike market. Although the firm was already selling suspension fork, it means that they already have the suspension fork. Anyways, they want to launch a new front suspension fork as shown in the figure. It was interested in exploring designs that would provide higher value for recreational cyclists. So they have the existing product, and what they want to do, they want to design a new front suspension fork. So the development team had spent a great deal of time identifying customer needs, like we identified in the last lecture. So in addition to logging many hours of riding on suspended bike themselves, the members of the team had interviewed lead users. So it comes under the problem definition, like how we can find out the problem from the user. So the bicycle team, what they did, they interviewed with the lead user at mountain bike races and recreational cyclists on local trails, and they also had spent time working with the dealers in their stores. Ultimately, what they are doing by this activity, they are just trying to identifying the need so that they can create the new front suspension fork. So basically, as a result of this process, they had assembled a list of customer needs. Yes, that we said in the last lecture. They now faced several challenges. What are these several challenges? We'll see one by one. So they have some questions like, how could the relatively subjective customer needs to be translated into precise targets for the remaining development effort? So this is the first question. Now comes to second question. How could the team and its senior management agree on what would constitute success or failure of the resulting product design? Now comes to next question, and what is that? How could the team develop confidence that is intended for product would garner a substantial share of the suspension fork market? Then comes to the next question. How could the team resolve the inevitable trade-offs among the product characteristics like cost and weight? So ultimately, these were the challenges that the team had while having the discussion with the team. So ultimately, what they have to do here, they have to find out the specification based upon the customer or the user needs. So the question comes here, what are specifications basically? So the answer starts with this team. Customer needs are generally expressed in the language of the customer. Language of the customer means what they want from us. The primary customer needs for the suspension fork are listed in the figure that we are going to see in the next slide. Customer needs such as the suspension is easy to install. What is this? These are the need required by the customer. Or the suspension enables high speed descent on the bumpy trail. What are these? These are the customer requirement, are typical terms in terms of the subjective quality of the expression, means these are the requirement. However, while such expressions are helpful in developing a clear sense of the issues of interest to customer, means obviously we know this thing, like whatever they require, they will put the specification in this manner only. So they simply leave too much margin for subjective interpretation. For this reason, what is happening? Developing team usually establish a set of specification which spell out in precise, measurable detail what the product has to do. Means based upon the user's requirement. What we are doing, we are just creating a setup specification, and what is the purpose of this setup specification, we are going to check. Then product specification do not tell the team how to address the customer needs. Remember, based upon the constraint of the organization, as well as you must know whether customer is asking the genuine things from you. You have to check. Okay, until and unless you are not satisfied with the available request, you don't have to proceed. So basically here, for example, in contrast to the customer need, the suspension is very easy to install. The corresponding specification might be that the average time to assemble the fork to the frame is less than 75 seconds. So it is also a need of the customer that they want to have a good suspension which is easy to install. So you can consider this type of required. So we intend the term product specification to mean the precise description of what the product has to do. So this is the definition. What is product specification? To mean the precise description of what the product has to do. When it comes, there are some firms which are saying that this product specification, they are terming this term as a product requirements, or sometimes they are saying engineering characteristics as well. Okay, so other firms they use sometimes specification, technical specification, to refer to key design variables. So what are these are nothing but these are the just different ways to represent the specification. So these are just differences in terminology. So here, what is the difference we are going to see? So basically, when we are saying that a single specification or a specification, then we are talking about only one part, and one part is singular. But when it comes to the specification or the product specification, that time we can say we are talking about more than one part. So what are these? These are just the definitions. So when we are say specification, that time we are talking about the single specification. But when we are talking about the product specifications, that time remember we are talking about more than one or two components. So here we can see the example. So what we did here, here this figure belongs to the customer needs for the suspension fork and their relative importance shown in a convenient spreadsheet. So serial numbers are there, suspensions are there, and the need of the customers or the users are here. And what we have given, we have given the importance of the need, means the number sequence we have given here basically. So what you can see the different numbers are there, means these are the most important need we can consider, like easy to install, works with fenders, then provides stiff mounting pads for the brakes, means these needs we can easily fulfill, then allow easy replacement of the worn parts. So when we are increasing the number from 1 to 5, it means the need importance is decreasing means the first one is essential, second one is again essential, then least essential, we are moving towards the serial number 1 to 5. Okay, so where we are developing this specification, or when are the specification is established? So basically what is happening when we are developing the product, here you can see, I'll show you one picture. So when we are identifying the customer needs, that is our first step. So based upon the identification of the customer needs, what we are doing, we are just establishing the target specification. You can remember that in the previous slide what we did, we just identified the need and we are just given the importance rating from 1 to 5. So as in this figure, what you can see, what we are doing, we are identifying the customer needs first, then we are
So,
establishing the target specification based upon the customer needs, then we are generating the product concept, then we are selecting the one product concept, then we are testing, then we are setting the final specification, then further downstream development is going to happen. So from this figure, previous figure, what it says that the target specifications are established after the customer needs have been identified but before the product concept. So what I said, after the customer needs and before the product concept. So based upon the specification, what you are going to do, you are going to generate the product concept as well. So an arbitrary setting of the specification may not be technically feasible. So here you can consider the requirement as it is. For example, in designing a suspension fork, the team cannot assume in advance that it will be able to achieve simultaneously a mass of 1 kg and a manufacturing cost of $30 and the best time descent time on the test track, and these are three aggressive specification. So what I said, you cannot or you don't have to consider the requirement as it is. What you have to do, you have to just analyze first, then accordingly what you can do, you can go ahead or you can move ahead with the establishing of target specification. Now comes to here, actually meeting the specification established at this point is contingent upon the details of the product concept the team eventually selects. For this reason, what is happening? Preliminary specification are labeled as target specification. Target specification means whatever the specification you want to have in your product. What we are doing? We are saying that these specification are target specification. So basically, these what are these target specification? These are nothing but the goals. Okay, so they are the goals of the development team, describing a product that the team believes would succeed in the marketplace. Why we are saying this is a goal? Because we are considering the need of the user. Need of these users we are setting as a target specification. Okay, and once we are setting the target specification, we are considering that whatever the need we have considered from the users that we are considering, so the marketplace is going to accept our product. So ultimately, later these specification will be refined based on the limitations of the product concept actually selected. So here what we did, we tried to understand the one example, like if some company wants to develop a new fork, how to consider the specification, after which step we can consider the product specification, then how to consider the establish the target specification, then later we will see what is the process of targeting target specification. Okay, this is it for the specification part. Thank you so much.